Okay, so what you're saying, people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today, guys, like always, another weekly analysis for you. On the screen are the pairs we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you do stay to the end of the video because I do have a bonus pair in store. So make sure you do stay to the end of the video to find out which pair that is. But yeah, guys, I hope you do enjoy the video. If you do enjoy the content on the channel, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe, share. All that good stuff does help the channel and keeps you in the community, keeps you in the loop, so you don't miss out on any content in the future. But guys, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so first up, like always, Euro USD. So for this pair, not much happened this week. The market's still consolidating, as you can see, has done for the past few weeks now. So still expecting that breakout. I was actually expecting it to happen this week to the upside, come back and retest this key broken level of support, turn resistance, and then the continuation of that higher time frame bearish trend. The market's still looking bearish on all the higher time frames. So still expecting us to eventually trade back lower, back at these lows here. It's just a case whether we break to the upside first, form the next lower high, then drop, or potentially clear the lows, break, retest, and then continue to the downside. So that's really the setups I'm looking for Euro USD coming into next week. So again, we've got the lows of the range here. You can look to trade within the range, that's fine as well. But if you're looking for the next kind of move for Euro USD, I'm still expecting the bearish trend to continue and us to revisit back down at these lows here. So nice little break and retest. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Nice little break and retest of 1.012. And then yeah, looking for shorts lower, back down into the lows here. You can target the psychological level at 1.00 if you want to as well. But I see some new lows here for Euro USD. The higher time frames are in agreement with it. So 0.99536. If we do break to the upside out the highs of the range, we have tried to this week. First attempt, they cleared the highs, but we came back into a bit of a false break. Then we had another attempt later in the week and failed miserably there as well. So if we do break to the upside, same thing as well, looking for the retest of that level around the 1.03500 key daily slash weekly monthly level, really. So if you can hold that, expect the market to continue, and we do have some really nice confluence of this higher time frame trend line. As you can see, the market really respecting this area. So if we do break to the upside, this is the weekly time frame, by the way. If we do break to the upside, most likely just wick into there on the weekly, and then continue our journey to the downside. So Euro USD bearish, looking for more downside. Either we pop to the upside at 1.03500, look for some shorts up there, or we just break lower and then look for the break and retest and continuation back down to the lows. Okay, so next up, USD JPY. So for this pair, nice downside move this week to start the week, and then some retracement afterwards. We were looking for a push into this zone here to come and retest that level, since we just missed it previously before, and now we're going to spike through that level, and we're having a nice bullish reaction there. So USD JPY, I'm still expecting more downside for this one in terms of where we're trading, looking for signs of reversal from this one, because you can see where we're trading, a very key area on the monthly. Last time we traded there was 2002. Now we're back at that same area again. So I'm expecting the market to hold, reject this area, and see some downside from a monthly perspective. Previous month gave us a nice wick to the upside, closed bearish. So looking to see if we can get another wick, maybe then potentially we can take a bit of a dive later on in the month for this pair. So USD JPY looking for us to come into this area. You can see all those wicks there on the weekly chart, 1, 2, 3 wick there, big close above, came back straight below, another wick there behind that candle. So looking to see if we can push into this area. There we go, push into this area next week, struggle from here, look for signs of reversal, then another move to the downside. Because if this level does hold, I would expect USD JPY to come back into this prior low here at 127. So that's a long-term target, but for next week we'll look for a push back down into the area it came from, which is this support here, 131. So this zone here, looking for price to hold that and come to the downside. If I go in the full H time frame, we can kind of refine that zone a little bit better. Looking at these highs up here, resistance, price kind of broke above, broke below, a little bit messy there a couple of weeks ago. But coming to this 136.5, that's where I'll be looking for some shorts. where is it there? Looking for some shorts, looking for a move right back to the downside. As long as we don't take out this high, because it's like the last high we had before we had a huge move to the downside. So as long as we don't take out that high, expecting us to roll over. Again, don't necessarily have to have targets all the way down at 131. This would be a nice area to have as a target, or even this support down here would be a nice to have as targets, so we can take partials, however you want to manage the position, but still expecting some more downside if we can hold this monthly area. So a little bit more upside for JPY into 136.5, and then looking for swing back down to 131 for next week. Okay, so USD CAD up next. So for this pair, not too much from this one. As you can see, look, consolidation lately, but Friday NFP, nice move to the upside, and a key piece of price action for us, because my main kind of thing I'm looking at is to see what we do with this level here. Because if we can truly break through this level, I'm looking at USD CAD coming right down to these lows. Pretty clean move up, so if you can clear this support, should see a fairly clean move back down. However, we're still failing to break through. We did get a break, but turned out to be false. Price goes straight back above. Thursday, nice little wick into testing, and then Friday, continuation higher. So this is telling me that the market's faked lower, and as long as we hold that in the retest, we'll stay above the level essentially. I'm expecting to see the buyers take back control and see some more upside, because we are on a very, very steadily ascending, type of structure here. The market is making higher highs and higher lows. It's difficult to say that this is a trend, because it's a very, very weak trend if we're going to say it's a trend. But there are higher lows being placed. This potentially could be the next one, and there are higher highs being placed as well. So overall, USD CAD for quite some period of time, since last year, August 2021, the market has been pushing up, and the fact that we're failing to take out this low, I would expect the market to go higher. But again, going to take it step by step. End kind of goal for USD CAD is back at these highs here. At 1.32230, but we still got a critical level of resistance here. That price could come, respect this level and fall, and give us a little bit of a head and shoulders there, left head and the right shoulder. So for next week, looking for a push back into this 1.30500 level. If we can snap through that, then yeah, back to highs, and then a lot further potentially. But you can see the market very, very choppy here, but it has broken structure now, big move to the upside, so looking for some type of pullback and continuations into the next zone. And if you can snap through that, running a bit of room, you're going for continuations back to those highs. So that's kind of the plan I've got going for USD CAD. So as for entries and actually trading the pair, looking for a retest of this structure there, that resistance broken as support, so you can come back and test that. Again, we could come a little bit deeper and test let me make that darker. Could come a little bit deeper and test the zone underneath on the daily chart. So we don't necessarily have to test this level. We could come and test this level and push through. So anywhere here from 1.289 to 1.28500 really, and then continuations into that zone there. And if you can snap through that, we can push the trade higher into those highs up there. But USD CAD bullish bias, looking only for buys really. Like I said, we're back above that level, so bullish. Looking for price to take us back to the highs if we can break through 1.305. So that is the plan next week for USD CAD. Sorry to interrupt the video guys, but if you are enjoying the content and you're finding it useful, make sure you go hit the subscribe button down below, and also make sure you drop a like as well. It really does help the channel out. But anyway, back to the video. Okay, so next up, Euro Pound. So for Euro Pound this week, not too much happened. You can see a big day there on Thursday, but overall price kind of still trading at that same area. Nothing's really changed from my bias. Still looking at this one coming down to 0.83 into this key high time frame support, weekly, daily support at 0.83. Nice little psychological level as well. Looking to see if we had a break and we tested this level, which price is doing now. So that's essentially what I was looking for the week, for a break and we tested this level. And we're pretty much coming into this on Thursday and Friday. So looking for that next lower high. We're at a nice high all the way up here, second, third, and looking for the fourth somewhere. We might spike a little bit higher. Even if we do break through that level and come a little bit higher, as long as we don't take out that resistance here from that wick, still expecting us to head to the downside. So for me, still bearish for Euro Pound. Targets in 0.83. From here, there could be some nice buys, because it is a very, very strong support, but I do see us returning back down to that level. So for entry wise, all you're going to be doing is just managing price action, not managing, but monitoring, that's the word, monitoring price action at this area here. If we can throw maybe some more wick coming into Monday, because again, we could sometimes when we do start the week, new kind of momentum is found, we could just, you know, blow straight through to the downside, we could just break through straight away. So you do have to make sure that coming into Monday, you know, London, see what the price is doing. If we are respecting it, shorts will be looking good pretty early in the week. Stops above the high or wherever the markets create the high, and targets at 0.83, and the exact same for this entry up there at that resistance around 0.853. But for this trade, I'll probably look just to target that level there, maybe leave some to trickle to the lower target, but we could find support and obviously head higher from this level. Something like that could happen. So if we get this trade, shorts back down to 0.83 for 0.84286. If not, look for shorts at 0.85200 and shorts back down to that same level, potentially at 0.83 if you want to push the trade. But that's the bias and the analysis going into next week for Euro Pound. Okay, so up next, AUD USD. So for this pair, nice downside move this week, didn't push too far, was looking for a move back down into this level of support at 0.68500. We were respecting this level here as prior support, as you can see, as resistance here. So the plan for the week was a move back down into this level. We did see a nice push, came back to retest it, and it looks like the market is giving us a lower high. So with this new information, I do think we could probably actually break through this level now. Now that we've got that lower high, and possibly head back down to these lows here at 0.67, maybe even further. The market is still looking bearish for AUSD on the higher time frames, all the way down to the 4H. So every time frame really is in sync to the downside. And if we snap through this support here, which is this key level there, I do see us moving back down to these lows. So there's two ways you can look to take this. The more conservative options, waiting for the break of this key level, 0.684, see if you can get retest and then shortening back down to lows, something like so. Again, nice probable trade, should see pretty nice continuation back down to lows. If you want to take the more slightly aggressive, not necessarily, because we do have a lower high printing there, so not really, but an entry with better risk to reward, more pips to catch. See if you can get another pullback back into this area here, double top, or maybe the next lower high or something, and then yeah, it swings back down to low. So the market is still looking bearish for AUD. If we can take out this high, then we might see a deeper retracement, a deeper pullback. But now that we're forming that lower high there, it looks like the market is getting ready to continue bearish again. So yeah, AUSD looking at more downside for this one. Two entries, one at this lower high, which is around the 0.7, nice key psychological level. If you're waiting for the break retest, then look for a break retest of 0.684, and same targets back down to the lows there at 0.66827. So more downside for AUSD next week. Okay, so next up is the CAD. So for this pair, a very choppy past week or so, as you can see, a lot of wicks all over the shop here for the CAD, but our main focus was this level of resistance. As price was struggling to break above, we were coming into the week as well. I said if we maintain that resistance, looking for a push back down to lows. If we can break above, looking for a push into this area here, which we almost came into, as you can see, around 0.814. So NZD CAD's kind of continuing that choppy move there. However, the market is giving me a signal that we are failing to push high. We could be forming another lower high, because again, the market is still extremely bearish. We are trading at some lows, some higher time frame lows, but the market is still printing lower highs here. So as we're struggling to push higher, the market's running out of energy and potentially will form the next lower high. We do have a trend line if I connect the wicks here. So as you can see, the high of that wick, the second high of that wick, we are coming into this area and we could see another drive lower. So for me, for NZD CAD, I am personally expecting this one to roll over now. We do also have this broken support there, term resistance here as well at 0.81. So for NZD CAD, as long as we can hold this area, looking for a drive to the downside, back down to lows, into this zone. We don't necessarily have to look for the pinpoint of the wick. This zone will do around 0.79432. If we break above this, then we probably will see a move back to that previous swing high. So either which way, we can look to buy and sell the market. if you get a nice daily close above that, look for the retest following day and then the continuations higher. But as things stand, obviously we're still holding that trend line, still running out of energy, looks like we're forming some exhaustion, potential low high formation there, and also rejecting that resistance. So as things stand, expecting price to fall, but if we do break above that, look for the break and retest, and we've got some buy opportunities back to around the 0.825 level. So entry wise, it looks like we are forming a lower high here on the 4H, first, second, so if we can form a third one there, looking to respect that pretty early in the week. Stop loss above the level, targets 0.79, 400 if you break above, standard break and retest, and longs to 0.824, something like that. So yeah, NZD CAD looking good for opportunity next week. Very, very choppy, but it does make sense. So yeah, as things stand, expecting a drop to 0.79. If we don't hold, look for the break and retest of 0.81 and buys to 0.824 up there. And now we're going to move on to pound NZD. So for this pair, again, still consolidating, strong resistance up around these areas up here, 1.96, strong support here at 1.915. So the market's still fluctuating between these two levels. This week we did see price run fake higher, big wick there to the upside and left a big wick to the downside. So essentially these highs are still holding. Was looking for the market to hold this trend line to roll over to the downside. It kind of did broke above. So the market isn't really showing too much momentum in either direction. So with pound NZD, we'll be waiting to see if we can get the break of this support, break out the range, and simply just look for continuation back down to the lows. That for me is the clearest opportunity right now for pound NZD, because at the moment it's just ranging. Going to the 4H time frame, best ways to trade this is just look to buy low and sell high at this point, really, because the market is not really showing too much kind of significant structure. Yes, we're forming lower highs over here. We've broken structure pointing to the upside. Now we've broken through structure to the downside there as well. So if you do see a move back to the highs up here, we'll look for shorts. Don't necessarily have to look for the full swing from the high 1.96 to 1.915. Can look for the equilibrium of the range from 50% and look to aim for that level, which does give a good win rate of around 1.935. So if you do get to those highs, look to short from there as long as we get a confirmation, of course. Targets the lows of the range, or you can look for the medium point there. And same at these lows here, the market is giving some nice wicks, showing rejection. So if you do reject it, expect the market to hold it, at least push to the midpoint of the range. Get the breakout, which is what I'm looking for, and then I can see my higher time frame kind of bias come through, break and retest back to the lows of the range, and maybe price can go further. So still overall sell bias for pound NZD, but it's moving very, very hectically right now. So I'm waiting for the break of that support. If you just continue to fluctuate next week, then we can take advantage of that as well. So for pound NZD next week, looking to take advantage of the range, but mainly waiting for that breakout of 1.915 and a push back down to 1.88 for next week. Okay, so now on to CAD Yen. So for this pair this week, bearish bias, we were eventually looking for price to return back down to this key support. We did that very, very quickly. This was Monday's candle, huge move. Then Tuesday's wick, we went and hit that level. I was looking originally for the market to retrace a little bit first, coming into the zone, and then potentially break through into these lows. However, the market was just far too bearish. So for CAD JPY, again, still do have that bearish bias, still trading in that monthly area where I do think we can have a deeper retracement for this pair. We've been flying to the upside, as you can see, big move down, coming to the same area. So I do see us coming to the downside, maybe 50% of this bullish move eventually. If we break above, then we can reassess, but if we can maintain that resistance, I do see some more downside for CAD JPY. So still looking at sell opportunities for this one. Again, long-term targets back down this low 98,500, sorry, long-term targets, but still looking for sells. So coming back into this resistance here, this would be a great place for some sell opportunities, and also this break and retest still does stand. So looking for some more downsides, and those are the two areas that pop out and have the most value to me here at 103,740 and 105,857. So does look like potential double top could be forming. But if we do move higher, I wouldn't be too concerned. because I actually want price to move higher to hit that resistance there at 105, and then your targets back down to the lows of last week. Just looking to continue that move. You can look to trade further if you want to, but it may take some time to actually get to those levels. And if you can get back underneath this level here, 103.750, again, nice little break-me test there, strong level there on the daily as support, using that as resistance. We'll look for some sell opportunities there, but as you can see, bias, in terms of direction is to the downside. Not really interested in the longs unless we completely blow through the resistance and blow through those highs. Like I said, we'll reanalyze the chart if we go and do that. But more downside for CAD JPY, just treating this bullish move here as retracement, looking for that low high to form. Nice break and retest of 103.750, looks good. Back down to 102. Or if you push a little bit higher into 105.600, looking for the lower high up there. And yeah, targets back down at 102 for next week. Okay, so now on to pound USD. So pound USD will pretty much just trading alongside this level for this week. We did have a big week for pound USD. We had the Bank of England interest rates and also NFP affecting the pound and the dollar. So price was impacted quite a lot this week for pound USD, and we're mainly just going to see how price was going to react at this 1.22 broken level of support turn resistance. We did close above on Monday, came back down, kind of moving sideways, but as you can see, we do have a bit of a head and shoulder formation here, giving us a nice reversal signal. Strong move to the downside there, confirming a break through that neckline. But as you can see, if I do whip out the old left shoulder tool, head and shoulder tool, you can see we've got the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder at our key level of resistance, and this is a neckline that price just broken off the back of NFP. So if this momentum can continue, I do believe pound USD could be trading at these lows. Long term, I would not be surprised if pound USD goes and takes out COVID lows. With a recession inbound, UK could be hit big with the pound taking a hit. So I won't be surprised if you see a lot more weakness that could take us beyond 1.14 and see some new lows. I mean, the market overall is still bearish on pretty much all time frames, as you can see. This is a very, very critical level of support, but as things stand, no real evidence that we're about to fly to the upside really. So yeah, pound USD for me, nice bearish head and shoulders there at a key level, at the key psychological level as well. As long as we don't break past this level of 1.22, expecting us to dive back down to 1.18, which is the lows, and possibly even further. So yeah, buys for pound USD to the downside. Let's see if we can get a nice little retracement into that level, lower high, or lower high somewhere else. And then yeah, continuations back down to 1.18, or I should say 1.177, actually a bit more accurate, 1.177. So pound USD short bias, looking for sells back down to the lows for next week. Okay, so now onto pound CAD. So pound CAD this week, nice push to the upside as expected. We were holding on to this broken level of support there, resistance back above, so we're looking for a push higher. Targets, I said 1.58, just missed it by a few pips, as you can see, before coming straight back down. However, the market is showing signs of exhaustion, and we could be forming a lower high to continue bearish. We do have this kind of bearish trend line here, not the strongest in the world because we've only got 2 tests of it. You want to see at least 3 to really consider it a strong trend line, but it is starting to form. We've got lower high over there, forming that low, lower high over there, forming that low, lower high over there, forming that low, and potential next lower high forming the next low to the downside. So for me, for pound CAD, looking for the next bearish leg to the downside. Targets, not necessarily looking for new lows, but I do think we can revisit this support here at 154 there. So yeah, if you can hold this resistance, again, a bit of a head and shoulders there, left, head, and the right, I do think we can drop to the downside. So for me, for pound CAD, looking for, did not mean to play the replay tool, looking for more downside back down to 154 for next week. Looking for that next lower high, stay below the trend line, below that resistance, that would be great. Again, we are trading at this area, so do keep an eye on Monday London, Monday New York, and yeah, downside targets at 154. So yeah, pound CAD's are bearish, looking for that next lower swing high on the daily, drop to the downside, back down to the low, see what type of price action we can get from there. Maybe some buys, but as of now, bearish bias, looking for a push back down to 1.54. And now onto pound yen. So pound yen this week did see some nice downside. We have taken out those lows there on the left, as you can see, taking out those lows there on Tuesday. And we have come into this level of support, which was the target. End goal for pound yen is this support here. So I do believe there's more downside coming for pound yen, but obviously we have to break through this 160 to get there. The market is still failing to move higher, as you can see, high up there, equal highs with this one, low high there, and again high, equal high there, low high to those highs. So you can see each time we do have a nice bullish rally, the market is depleted, exhausted, and can't take out the previous high, showing us that the buyers are starting to weaken, sellers are starting to strengthen, and we could be looking not necessarily at reversal, because the higher time frames are definitely very bullish. We could still take a deeper retracement and then form a higher low later on in the higher time frames and continue higher, but it does look like we could be in for a bigger correction before we do maintain that bullish trajectory in the higher time frame. So for pound yen, looking at a low high to form, we're coming into this level here, so that's really where I'm looking for that low high to form into that resistance. We could potentially push on a little bit higher into the previous resistance up here. Basically, as long as we don't take out that high, I still expect us to roll over, because that's our structure lower high. So we can pull back anywhere in here, and the bias could still be correct. So coming to this level, see what price does there. Could be forming a nice little double top for us to short early in the week. First target 160 is a key level. Break through that, we can push it into 156, which is that lower target down there. If we do push a little bit higher, we still got the highs up here to trade from. As long as we don't break through that, again 160 is the target, and then possibly 156 as well. So nice bearish swing, still expecting for pound yen, looking for that next lower high, possibly at this 162.967 level, or we could push a little bit higher into 165. Either which way, continuation is back down to 156 for pound yen next week. Okay, so next we've got gold. So gold this week, more upside, which was expected, looking bullish coming into the week. I did say a nice little break and retest of this level, didn't quite get there. The market did form some higher lows, but not quite the level around 1745, but we were rejecting this weekly area here, so expect momentum to continue high. We're looking for around that 1800 mark coming into this zone here. Didn't quite get there, as you can see, missed it by not much there, but subsequently I'm expecting the market to reverse anytime soon now for gold. Long term, still expecting these wicks on a weekly time frame to go, which I've been saying for past few weeks now, expecting liquidity below these lows to be taken out eventually. So expecting another lower high to form. You can see the structure of gold recently, high up there, lower high, lower high. So expecting to see something of the same lower high develop somewhere around the 1800 mark, then another bearish leg to the downside, taking out those lows around 16.177. So coming into next week, everything is still looking bullish. You can see the structure is still high, low, sorry, higher high, higher low, higher high, potential higher low. So the market is still bullish in the 4H, but you can see some signs of reversal coming into 1800. Can be looking for some shorts to take it a lot lower. Again, targets, we can look at this. Oh, did not mean to use that. We can look at this level here, 1745, a lot of wicks coming to that level there. We've got a nice little support level where we did see a lot of momentum come from. Then finally we've got the lows there around 1680. So those are the targets I have for gold. Whether we hit all of them next week, I highly doubt it, but looking for the market to show some signs of reversal, and then again looking for shorts around this 1800 mark. I can look for a push into these lows here as well, depending on if I want to take the trade. But from a swing perspective, I'm expecting us to eventually get back down to those 1680, 1617 areas. So gold looking for a bearish swing to the downside, only interested in shorts, and targets down at 1680 for next week. Okay, so now we've got Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's still on that path to the upside very, very slowly. As you can see, the higher lows there slowly been printing in the market. We are showing some signs of exhaustion at this resistance where we could potentially roll over. But like I said, I'm still looking for a push into this consolidation around 29-30K to tap into this area, and then potentially we could see price continue on that bearish journey, because momentum is still very much with the bears overall. You can see where the momentum lies, a lot of consolidation, downside, very choppy price action. So the sellers are in control, just expecting to see some type of pullback, whether we hold this level and we continue to the downside from there, or we push up a little bit higher, tap into that consolidation, and then continue just up to the market really. If we do clear that resistance, we can look for a break and retest, take advantage of those buys, look for the next higher low from these lows up here, push into that level, and then we can look to sell the market back down. But really for me, the direction for Bitcoin is still to the downside. So sells from here, I'll probably wait for a bit more evidence first before shorting. Again, targets back at the lows here at 17,664, or we might push it a little bit higher into the consolidation, starting around 28,400. And then again, still looking for shorts. Looking for shorts back down to the lows there. So Bitcoin, you can see the momentum is building up to the upside. Snap through that resistance, looking at a push into that area. You can see where the momentum came from. Tap into that, and then more downside off the back of that. So Bitcoin for next week, looking for shorts, whether we hold 24k or 28, 29k, looking for downside back down to lows for next week. Okay, so now for our bonus pair, we've got oil. So I did the oil a few weeks back as a bonus pair, bring it back for this one. Nice little update for this one, how it's going. I gave out a nice swing opportunity for this one, looking for us to return back to this prior high over here, around the 75 price range there. We could head lower, potentially back down to these lows, potentially back down to these lows if the full swing does play out, but we're looking for a push into this resistance here first for oil. So oil looking good, like I said, for this one a few weeks back, looking for this key level of support to break, which is finally broken this week, this past few days, as you can see. So for oil, we formed this high over here, lower high. We potentially could pull back, form the third one, snap back above the level, form the third one, and then roll over, or we could just remain underneath this level and just continue bearish and kind of melt to the downside slowly. So oil still looking at shorts for this one. The main kind of short setup now would be the break retest of this low, powerful support, where we turn some nice resistance here at 95. If we do break above, I'll be looking at this fib here from that high to that low, if it does form there, into around the 50%, 0.68, 618 level, so around into this area, or potentially that area there we could pull back into before later seeing that bigger decline into 75. So that's the kind of thesis that I have going for oil. Targets remain the same at 75 down there, longer term a lot lower, but we'll get to that once we get to 75. So yeah, coming into next week, hopefully get a nice little pullback going into 95, retest that, then we can short it back down. Again, don't necessarily have to push it to 75. You know, if you do form a low here, that could be a nice little target to take small pieces as oil trades lower. But oil, got this one going low to 75, hoping for a pullback into 95. If we do break above, looking around the 105, 110 mark. But yeah, shorts, got oil going down to 75 in a bit of a medium long-term bias.
Okay guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed that and found that useful. Again guys, any bonus pairs that you want me to take a look at in the future, let me know in the comments. I'll make sure I add that to the list. If you have enjoyed the content, please be sure to leave a like on the video. It does really help the channel out. Any questions or didn't understand anything, let me know in the comments as well. I'll make sure I will get back to you. But yeah guys, I hope you have enjoyed the video. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all next week.